Hi, it's Sally here. How is everyone? Well, I needed to make another big journal for the farmer's market because I sold one last week. So this is the one I worked on. This is a cover that I have had for a while. I went through covers, a few months ago and just totally gutted a whole bunch of books. So I would have them ready. Now I have a whole big stack of them. So when I want to make one, I could just go through, look for the size I want, and have one all ready to go. In fact, on this one, I actually already had the spine done too. This had a very narrow spine, like maybe about 3/4 of an inch. It wasn't very much. So I expanded it to, I think it's 1 1 3/4. And it has 5 signatures, and I just stitched them right into the spine. This fabric here is some I had in that upholstery sample book that I got at the thrift store. And I thought the color really went well with this. I liked it. And yeah, and I love this cover. I think the picture with the kids on it is nice. Let me just change this light because there's some glare. There, that's better. That's much better. It seems dark to me, but actually I'm looking at the screen and it looks pretty light. Okay, so yeah, I put an eyelet here. This is the price tag. I put $125 on it. The one I sold was a little smaller and it was $100. So, and this one has a lot in it. I mean, there are a lot of pages. Okay, so here is a Tim Holtz hitch post and elastic cord, which I just added a few beads onto the cord just to kind of, I like to have them kind of hang down and not stick up like they do, but I didn't want to cut it real short. So this makes it adjustable so you can actually untie the knot and add a little more space if you need to. And so let's take a look at the inside. So this is the original inside cover of this music book. And by the way, this book is actually, I'm going to move this camera up a little bit because it's a pretty big book. It's a little bigger than the standard, like pretty much 7x5 ones that I usually do. This is more like, oops. Yeah, it's like 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. So it's a little bit bigger all the way around. Anyway, I do like this inside cover. It actually looks like a piano. I always thought that was neat. And so this page came out. I was able to save that, so I started the first signature with it, and it came with this dedication on the inside cover. I think the book is, from the, I don't know, 30s or 40s, but this person dedicated it to someone in 1981. Okay, so this is one of my jelly prints. And I just added the flowers as a little bit of extra decoration. I liked kind of bringing out those colors, the reds and the greens. And then this ledger paper is a little bit wide, so I just folded it to add a little extra writing space. This is actually 2 pieces of stationery hinged together, and an illustration from another old book. And this is the original title page. Yeah, 1938. Oh, yeah, so I did just added a extra hinged piece of paper here. This is some of that Tim Holtz tape. Just to add a little extra writing space. And this is onion skin that I've dyed with onion skins to give it that yellow color. And this is from the Audubon book of, I think, most popular bird paintings. And one of my no snag paper clips with this page from the old catalog that I've turned into a journaling card. I added a lot of tabs. Most of these are from, the tabs are made out of my snippet rolls. I have made several, some with fabric and some with paper, and this one's fabric and this one is paper. And so there are pages from children's books in here. This is a cute little story about some a little boy who lost his red mittens. So on the strings, I just put a little pair of red mittens here that are like the ones he lost. It's a cute story. So this is trim I make myself. It's extra strips of paper, offcuts that I just did a lot of stitching on. And a piece of one of my snippet rolls. And this is actually some paper ruffle that I colored with some watercolors. And a pocket made out of paper cloth. And then a tag that I made. One of the songs from the original book. And this is what I like about this book. It's book one, which means the book one usually has more illustrations in it, and they are really adorable. I love the dancers. This is actually a little clipping I found in a scrapbook about a little girl doing a dance recital, so I thought that went well with this. I just kind of turned it into a little cluster. Another children's book page. That's a really old one. Just a little bit of collage, flowers and things. And jelly print. And I put this Mother's Day card here. It's a really pretty vintage Mother's Day card. Isn't that gorgeous? And this was actually a book inside cover page from another book, and a lady had written this on the back of the back page, and it was about being a mother, and she really was kind of sad what she wrote, but I decided just to kind of put this Mother's Day card over it, just so, I don't know, I just thought it would be nice. Okay, so this is that calendar from 1951. That's the year I was born, and this is just one of the cover pages. And I made these journaling cards just from an interesting book that had mechanical drawings in it, and this old index card. An Arthur Rackham children's fairy tale book illustration. I love his illustrations. They're very, they're just very weird and very fantastical. I mean, look at this giant and his shoes, and it's just a really interesting picture. And this actual page it was a double page. It had illustrations on all four sides, so there are 4 beautiful Arthur Rackham illustrations in here. And here's a tuck I made out of a piece of my snippet roll with a vintage Christmas card. This is the kind that don't open. They're like a postcard. Another song from the original book. And a little candy bag with, this is one of those stereoptiscope cards. These were given to me. This is Yosemite Valley. And the cards, when I got them, were really kind of in bad condition. I had to kind of restore them by putting a new backing on them. and gluing them down. So it's now pretty much holding together, and it would make a nice, I figured it would make a good journaling card. Another beautiful children's book illustration. That's from an old reading book. This is Braille paper that I avocado dyed. Another jelly print. And I turned this center page into a double pocket for these two animals. Excuse me. From the this old natural history book I have. It's like from the I think it's from the late 1800s actually. And the pages are pretty brittle, but I backed them on some old book pages so they could be used as journaling cards. And I kind of like how they look. Look like they're peeking out of here from behind some plants. Some ledger paper. And this is one of the calling cards I got. It's the 1880 copyright. It's just tucked in here behind this Tim Holtz flower. And this is an envelope I made. So it has a collage on the cover and on the flap. And then inside is just a blank card. Kind of pretty though. Tea-stained onion skin, and here are the other Arthur Rackham illustrations. This one of the giant, and another one. Some tea-stained paper with a little bit of spray ink on it. And that's just the rest of the calendar page. Okay, so here's the next signature. Aren't the illustrations in this? This is from the original book, and the illustrations are so nice. Just beautiful. If you ever get a chance to get these Music Hour books, they're really nice quality. And this was book one is the one that I have, and I think I have a couple other copies. And they might not all be book one, but I will be using them for journals. So another snippet roll tuck spot. Here's Alcatraz Island in San Francisco. And this one is another building in San Francisco. And a page from the Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy book. And I don't know if this is an Arthur Rackham illustration or not. It doesn't say, but it kind of is like his style. Snippet roll. This is from an old reading book. I'm sure this was like primary first year reading book because it's just all pictures. Great illustrations. And a pocket with a little tuck spot behind. And this card tag I made. This was a picture that I found. It was in a frame. I found it at a garage sale. It was in the free box. So I really liked the picture. And actually the frame is kind of neat. It's sort of shabby chic. It's really old. And so I think it's usable. But the picture was what I really took it for, and I really liked how it looks, and it was a really pleasant surprise that it had actually some writing and information on the back of it too. So I don't know how old it is, but it's a neat, very neat picture. And since I had to fold it in half to put it in here, and it was kind of cracking a little bit, I just collaged on here a little bit of thin onion skin paper to kind of protect it. So you can still see the design, and it protects it from any damage. And then just put some old stamps on these strings. So here is a belly band made with a piece of a snippet roll, and it has this card, which I thought was pretty. Actually has not been used. You can always, open these up, and there's a lot of writing space in there on all the sides. So that's an old card, and here's the envelope that actually came with it. So it could be used. But until then, it's just in this journal. This is a neat, these are actually pictures of gems and minerals. It's from a magazine I had. I just thought the illustrations were really interesting. And in this tuck spot is a playing card with a deer on it. So this is actually the packaging that these playing cards came in. I got these at an estate sale, and I think I showed them in one of my haul videos. And I said I was going to use the packaging, and I used every little bit of it. And so I actually bound part of it into a small journal, and this piece here I turned into a pocket. And these are two of the cards that came in there, and also one of my altered Rolodex cards. Another piece of stationery, and this is from the Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy book. So some of the pages were small because, this is such a big book, and I've just occasionally I like to add a little piece onto a page, and I think it just makes it more interesting. And I actually stitched on this to this jelly print. And I also like the way you can see the illustration on the next page through the onion skin. And this is also from the original book. And so Nick's signature starts with a piece of vintage wrapping paper. This is paper, I think, that was for a bridal shower. I just thought the design on it was so pretty, and I love the colors. And it was a big piece, so I folded it over so I could put more of it in here. Did a little stamping here. This is a very, very old reading book. I had to put a hinge on the fold because it was fragile, but looks like the page will be okay. Another illustration from another old book for children, and a little cluster I made. I got one of those things for making wax seals, so that's kind of fun. I've been playing with that and adding a few here and there. This is a tuck spot, and it has this little journaling card in it that I collaged. This is the Arthur Conan Doyle book, Doyle's Diaries. I showed that, I think, in my last video, and I actually went on to, I believe it was Abe Books or Thrift Books, I can't remember. Anyway, I ordered another copy of it because I love that book so much. Now I feel like I can use it more. This was part of the French pages that a friend of mine gave me. she ordered these pages from old French books and magazines. She was going to use them to make journals, and she never did. So she offered them to me, and I said, yes, I will take those. And here we have just a little picture of some farmer's market type fruits and vegetables under one of my no snag paper clips. On this side we have, these are like trail signs. I think this is either Tim Holtz or Seven Gypsies ephemera. And this is a very old photo, and it's kind of faded. You can just make out the couple. They're standing in front of a giant redwood tree. So. So in this book, someone had colored this page with their crayons, and I thought they did a pretty nice job. So I went ahead and used it. I love the picture of the daisy fairies, and I thought the coloring was actually pretty nice. Yeah, that's why I saved this very old brittle book, because it has pictures like this in it. There's the rest of the wrapping paper. It was a big piece. And this is from the book, the other book I have about Edith Holden. It's kind of a biography, and it shows some of her other work, like these Christmas cards she made. And this is actually just an very old print of two kitty cats in clothes. I love to see that. Pictures of cats wearing clothes. For some reason, it just makes me happy. And this is another page from a very old reading book. It had to be hinged here because it was coming apart, but I wanted to put it in here. This is actually probably from the early 40s, I'm guessing. This is like even before my time, and I'm pretty old. And this is from an adult coloring book. I like to use these pages in journals, but I end up either tea staining them or avocado dyeing the paper or something. This one I actually used onion skin to dye. And then this is one of the Victorian calling cards, which I turned into a pocket for one of these affirmation cards. And this is a miniature postcard. I have a little book of them. And they fit nicely right there. And so I put a big manila envelope in here that I have painted with my jelly plate. And so inside of this half of the envelope is this old birthday card. It's really pretty. And you can see how they use this paper here, this shiny foiled paper that's kind of tarnished right now, to illustrate this little box, which I thought was really sweet. 1946. It was, I think, with that most recent bunch of cards I got at that estate sale, which I have been enjoying so much. I shared a lot of them with my sister, and we both enjoyed looking at the calling cards, and she showed them to another friend of hers too. So a lot of people have gotten pleasure from those cards that lady saved. This is from a book of 1950s photographs, and I love the fashions. I used my Simplicity stamp right here. And this is from the French pages. It's a book of French paintings, and so I put a couple of my tags in here. We have this one here with the Dalai Lama. These are collage, and this one has some napkin collage on it also, and a little tab. And then on the strings, these are miniature book covers. They were in the back pages of the Walter Foster book, one of the Walter Foster books. So I use those cut those out, put them on the string. A very young John Lennon. So I think he's supposed to have been 18 in that picture. It's an old one. Another wax seal. Cute little story about some crows. And so here's the other half of the envelope. And on this side, I put a tag that I made with some napkin collage, little tab there, some old ledger paper in the back. And here's the rest of the coloring sheet. Somebody actually colored a little bit of it. Oops. And there's the rest of that page, which I'm going to have to do a little bit more reinforcing. I can see right here. So I will, when I have something like that that needs fixing, I use this. I learned this little trick from Jessica Rapp. Document repair tape. It's super duper thin. This is the tape. It's on a backing. So when I just tear off a piece like so and peel it back, and then I'll just stick it right there, and it just like becomes pretty much invisible. So I will, as soon as I'm done here, I will do that. And that's another painting by Edith Holden. And another one of her illustrations. This was for a book called Animals Around Us that she did. I'd love to find some of those other old books that Edith Holden illustrated. And that's it. So this one, even though it's going to the farmer's market, it is for sale. So if any of you out there in the viewing audience are interested, just write me a message in the comments and I'll get back to you. $125, and I've checked, and it will fit in a padded flat rate envelope, and so that would be an additional, I think, about $8.50 for postage. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.